Could always count on what he was going to get from him. Never an issue with attitude with him. Thornton looks inside to Miles Plumlee, rejected by Leslie. The quickness on the NC State wing giving Duke problems. And there's the 3-ball coming on the other end. Beautifully done by Alex Johnson.
Well, now we talked about how important grad students have been this year around the conference. And as a backup point guard, he's had a terrific year on just 30% from 3, but good early confidence.
The grad student from Cal State Bakersfield. Got his undergraduate degree in broadcast communications. Working on his master's. And Duke
0 for 5 to start the game.
Looking for a field goal of any kind. 2.5 minutes gone here at Cameron. Leslie from the elbow. Wood on the offensive glass. Good feed to Leslie. Can't convert. Howell lost it on the way up. Last touch by Duke. Veteran officiating crew, Les Jones, Tim Nestor, Mike Eaves.
Well, this is a great feed inside, but a good recovery by C.J. Leslie. And then coming down, and a lot of times, especially against Duke, the best time to knock down a 3 is in transition when the defense is a little scattered.
Lorenzo Brown looking to feed Wood. Out of bounds. He's knocked out of there by Tyler Thornton. How about this? Duke fans have heard this before. Michael Snare with the 3-ball at the end of the game to provide the margin for Leonard Hamilton's club to keep Florida State tied with North Carolina atop the ACC. Duke with a win would keep the 3-way tie alive tonight.
And Florida State comes to Raleigh on Saturday, so a quick turnaround for both teams.
That game will be on the ACC network as well. Oh, the bank is open late. Lorenzo Brown.
He's having a terrific year. Not known as a three-point shooter, but from the day Mark Godfrey took over this program, he said, "You are my point guard, let's go."
An 8-0 start for the Wolfpack. Just over 3 minutes gone. And finally the answer, and it's Josh Hairston, who Coach K was commenting on to us when we met with him prior to the game. He's really been proud of the way the young man's played.
Well, with an expanded role, he's become much more of a leader. We saw him go out during warm-ups and introductions to get the crowd going, but gets them off the stride offensively.
That's an offensive foul charge against Richard Howell.
Yep. Those are the ones that he has to stay away from. There are going to be too many opportunities, but right there, lower flat. How about Josh Hairston making the play on both ends of the floor, coming in and giving them a lift emotionally?
I remember talking to Roy Williams prior to the Virginia game last week, Mike, and commenting on the Harrison Barnes charge late in that game. That's something you always have to be aware of as an opposing team to Duke. You cannot go barreling into the lane as a big man. They will collect that charge every time.
Well, the Plumlees are shot blockers. Everybody else will step in and take the body.
Leslie a little short with that one. Thornton comes out of there with it for Duke. Ryan Kelly on a blow-by against Leslie, and he's rejected. That's a matchup that NC State likes. Mark Godfrey told us today, CJ's got to guard Kelly. I believe he just did. Wolfpack have a 6-point lead to open this game. Haviland defensive shield, Mike.
Defensive with 3-point shooting, 27%, #1 in conference games, but NC State's gotten off to a quick start, 2 of 3.
Boy, that alley-oop for the slam was right there, and Miles Plumlee clanked it. Now one off the front iron for Rivers. Here comes Johnson end to end. Nice little floater. The veteran senior by way of Toronto and Cal State Bakersfield has been a factor with 5 early points for NC State.
And nobody really stopped the penetration. Nobody picked him up from end line to end line.
This can happen to a team that relies so heavily on the perimeter jumper. Blue Devils are now 1 for 11 from the floor. Errant pass by Johnson picked off. That's the 4th turnover committed by the Pack.
Good vision by Dawkins that time, getting his head turned, going back and anticipating the long pass.
Cook into the game, feeding Mason Plumlee. Over Howell.
Just nothing there. And the thing is, NC State making Duke miss and also cleaning up on the glass. No second chance opportunities for Duke.
Again, for those of you that may have just joined us, Mark Gottfried's team out to a great start. Seth Curry, also an injured ankle, has left the floor and has gone into the locker room. I'm sure they're checking out just how badly that sprained ankle is sprained. Leslie is rejected. Howell with the follow, and he's fouled by Miles Plumlee.
Everybody on that block shot, you've got to hang in there like it's a rebound, and Duke was breaking out before they had possession of the ball. Good job by Howell to stay in the play and get to the free throw line.
Now, one thing to consider, Mike, if in fact Seth Curry is really hurt and will not be able to return, as much as they depend on the three, that's one less scorer for Coach K. Closed captioning for ACC basketball is provided by Bojangles, famous chicken and biscuits. It's Bowtown.
Oh, it looks like the training staff worked this magic, and it's good to see that Seth Curry back out on the floor.
He made it quickly, didn't he? It's almost as if he was wired for Saturday.
Well, his brother Steph has had ankle injuries and the history of that. But you look down, it looked like a lot worse. He's kind of testing it out right now.
We'll see how much lift he's got in that jump shot of his.
Well, but like his dad, he doesn't need much lift. I mean, he gets shot up. He plays a little bit low to the ground.
Rivers lost his dribble, but Miles Plumlee there to pick up a little garbage. And he puts it in off the glass. 11-4, NC State.
Well, Austin Rivers is the one guy that they've got who can do something off the dribble from the perimeter. And he was looking for Plumlee on that play. It wasn't a great pass, but it got where it needed to go.
Johnson working on Cook. A little pick and pop that time. Deshaun Painter just into the game. Off the back line.
And they're going to stay with, when he's screening, they're going to stay with the guy coming off at an extra count or two. They'll really challenge Deshaun Painter to try to knock down jump shots.
C.J. Williams is sitting with 2 fouls. Howell also in the fine for Gottfried. So his front line now consists of Painter and Leslie. Curry, the floater. Ooh, the iron unkind to Seth Curry. Back again comes North Carolina State. Lorenzo Brown just lost the handle for a moment. Johnson, ooh, what a look to Painter. And he uses the glass. That was an outstanding passing display by Johnson.
Well, he shows a lot of quickness out on the floor, breaking Duke down off the dribble. And that's a shot that Mark Gottfried much more comfortable with Painter in the paint area.
Cook from downtown. Leslie. Boy, he is quicker to the ball on the low block tonight than anyone in a Duke uniform early on. He is gobbling up rebounds. Johnson, another nice delivery. This one to Leslie. In traffic. Well defended by both Plumlee and Kelly.
Well, Kelly coming in late that time for the double team.
Rivers, the scoop to the hoop. Rejected out of bounds to Duke. Plumlee, Thornton, and Bemidji coming in for the first time, number 13.
Mike Krzyzewski going very deep into his bench early in this game, just looking for some scoring. Miscommunication about who was to come out. Austin Rivers was the last man off the floor.
Been a while since Michael Bemidji's seen playing time. Thornton operating at the point now, giving it to Curry. We'll see what he's got with that ankle problem of his. Curry spots up. Not there. Howell comes down with it. Now Wood. Numbers 3-on-2. Brown finds Johnson on the wing. Count it. For Lorenzo Brown and Alex Johnson, an extra ball handler.
2 point guards out on the floor at the same time, but you get a shooter out there. State now 3 of 4 from 3.
Mason Plumlee with a nice dunk under move against Painter. His first basket. Only 3 for Duke so far. Brown just a little too quick with that pass. But Gottfried's really got to be happy with the play of his reinforcement.
Come in and score. And you brought up the point about this team maybe sometimes letting its offense get to its defense.
Yeah.
And NC State just shooting under 50% in this game so far. So this really could not have played out any better for Mark Gottfried in the first 9 minutes.
Alex Johnson picked up that foul against Curry. I think it's safe to say that Seth does not appear to be the same with that jump shot since he left the game with that ankle injury.
You see the three-point 0 for 7 so far for Duke, 3 of 4. 2 of those by Johnson coming in. Alex Johnson's been terrific.
NC State will live with Thornton taking those threes. Rivers, along with Thornton, Seth Curry, Hairston, and Mason Plumlee, the 5 on the floor for the Blue Devils. Mason with the jump hook. He did a really nice job a week ago facing much taller timber than NC State's front line against North Carolina with a couple of those jump hooks. He went to the left hand with one.
Well, I think that's the key thing, too. I mean, we talked about putting pressure on NC State up front to defend, but also having to finish inside.
Oh, Williams, yes, and a foul. Thornton picks up the personal. Boy, outstanding entry passes being made here.
And Mark Gottfried trusting his senior and C.J. Williams with 2 fouls to come in and play. Beautiful pass inside. Oh. I think if you ask Sidney Lowe that he made a mistake in not naming Lorenzo Brown as his point guard earlier last year.
His father Wendell looking on. C.J. Williams' dad makes every game from Georgia, where he now lives, had been in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Hairston with another whirling dervish in the lane.
I asked Mike, not certainly as athletic, but a kind of guy like a Lance Thomas, and I think this team desperately needs that. And he's really been an energizer, and he's been a leader.
Brown off the curl. Rebound taken by Rivers. He's got numbers. 4-on-1. That's an offensive foul. Krzyzewski doesn't like the call. I'm pretty sure he didn't like the decision either by Rivers.
Well, just Duke 2 bunched up on that break. Everybody close together, so much easier to guard. And it looked like Rivers trying to jump sideways, and I don't know that Johnson was fully committed to take that charge, but got the call.
Don't forget, coming up Saturday, either Florida State, North Carolina State, or Maryland and Virginia on the ACC network. Johnson, again, a great find. Boy, the vision he's got while in flight, feeding C.J. Leslie.
Leslie very quietly putting together a nice game. Shot the ball well, but rebounded, some blocks. Deep into this game in the first half, Duke has yet to go to the free throw line.
Boy, that's a cheapie from Howell again.
And those are the ones that he picks up that drive Mark Gottfried crazy.
Yep, that's the second foul, and both of them were the kind that you could have easily done without.
One was a charge where he dipped his shoulder, and then that one on the reach out 30 feet from the basket. You're going to have enough opportunities to bang people inside with the Plumlees coming at you.
Absolutely. Curry, little stop and go over Johnson. Used his size to his advantage, and it's 21-12. First bucket for Seth. Mom looking on. Leslie in traffic. Rejected by Plumlee. Stays with it and gets the crier to fall. He wanted the harm as well. No whistle. He's got 6.
15-10 advantage on the boards right now for NC State.
Rivers working on Williams. Remember, he's playing with 2 fouls. As is Howell. Kelly. Fouled by Leslie. His first.
Well, Ryan Kelly not starting, but playing starter minutes, averaging over 12 points a game. Really high basketball IQ, has improved every single year under this coaching staff.
Former McDonald's All-America, but somebody that really did become a much better and stronger overall player from last season to this season. Well, the ACC is more interactive than ever. Vote in the weekly polls on Facebook. Join the conversation at the ACC on Twitter. And subscribe to Wireless Alerts. Visit the Fan Zone on the ACC.com to discover how you can access the ACC. Well, we got another push. This one to go against Andre Dawkins. Miles Plumlee will check in for Ryan Kelly. Leslie along with Alex Johnson, C.J. Williams, Wood, who has not yet been as much of a factor as I know Mark Gottfried would like. No points for him so far. Trying to get free, and you can see how much attention they're giving him from beyond the arc. Leslie, what a move. What a move by C.J.
Well, that's what he does, and you know what? You get a bigger guy on you, not moving laterally as well. Face him up, put some pressure on him to defend off the dribble.
He's got 3 blocks and 4 rebounds already as well.
Make that 5.
Rejected. Wow, what a play by Leslie. Wood really wants to get on track and get a shot. Johnson. Banana song from Alex Johnson. It's a 15-point North Carolina State lead.
Games like this, you need guys to step up. And what was my key for Duke to get to the bench? Well, they've gotten to their bench and they've gotten answered.
Again, Rivers driving to the basket. The issue for North Carolina State may well be attrition. Their only problem seems to be foul difficulty. CJ with the payday.
Points.
Rumor has it you're accustomed to fast analysis while working with me.
Yes.
There's CJ on the bench with the 3rd foul going to break. That's really the only issue that Mark Gottfried has right now is the potential of attrition with his front line.
But they've come in and you need a lift in those certain situations. Duke off to a very slow shooting start, 6 of 24 in the game.
A much better defensive basketball team now than they had back in January at NC State. Wood off the curl. That's what he likes. He drills his first tray to make it 31-14. I think if you would ask Gottfried, you'd be up 17 with Wood making his first shot almost 13 minutes in. He'd say, what?
Well, he's gotten much better using screens in the half court. It seemed earlier in the year he was getting more opportunities off of fast breaks from behind the arc, but now he's utilizing screens and getting himself open.
Plumlee working against Painter. Almost taken away by Brown. Here's Curry for 3. Halfway down the cylinder and out. Miles Plumlee, the putback.
One of the few times in this game so far where Duke has had second chance points. A couple of easy misses inside, but the Plumlee's starting to come alive on the iron.
Johnson, who's been red hot. This time, the in-between shot doesn't fall for him.
Well, now, you know what they have to do with him now is make him a driver, and that time Curry forced the pump fake, and he had to go to his mid-range game.
Plumlee blowing by Leslie, not there. Painter corrals it for North Carolina State. Johnson, a little give and go. Oh, another great pass and the foul prior to the shot. Oh, that extra pass has been something that's been very kind to NC State. A look at our Hyundai trip around the ACC. Wake in Miami on your regional sports network. And look at that. You're on the ACC network. Florida State, NC State, or Maryland and Virginia. 2 big games there. And later on, Clemson, North Carolina to be featured along with Duke Boston College in Sunday Night Hoops.
See if Clemson can win for the first time in 56 trips to Chapel Hill. But that team playing much better over the last couple of weeks.
Austin Rivers got the foul, his second for the Blue Devils, and he's taking a seat. Cook back in the game. Wood feeds Johnson wide open on the wing. Just over 5 minutes to play in the opening half, and the lead is 15 for State. Kelly a little out of control, and another foul underneath spotted by Les Jones.
Hairston going down hard, but C.J. Leslie making that play defensively. Kelly misses the shot because he comes in. They're starting to look for him as a shot blocker now. Here's the play. You can see him coming in, and he had to change that shot. He went down hard, and then Hairston on the other side coming down hard as well.
Boy,
C.J. Leslie is playing above the rim in this game.
Yeah, and I believe, honestly, he got a foul in the air without a touch that time. Just so many bodies flying, and he was out of position. He picked up a foul really without much of a bump at all. That's his second, though, and again, that's 2 on he and Howell, and a third foul sitting C.J. Williams at this moment. Bear that in mind as this game progresses. Ball knocked away by Dawkins. They are all over Wood. Pretty clear what the scouting report tonight was.
Well, then they're so good at clinically taking out scores in this game, and he was a priority. Andre Dawkins getting the call right now.
Howell gets right past Hairston. 3 in the game for him.
Well, he and C.J. Williams are 2 of the most improved players in the conference this year, really flourishing under Mark Gottfried.
Defining roles was a priority for Gottfried, who was a winner at Alabama and prior to that Murray State, while being a longtime assistant on Jim Herrick's national championship team in '95. What a staff Herrick had when you think about it. Kelly on the wing. He drives one home from downtown, 33-21.
He's a pick and pop guy. That time he ran around penetration, 41% from 3, so you have to cover him outside. He's a tough guard for a power forward.
Backdoor cut by Wood, and that's a block on Hairston.
Right, and he didn't get above the charge block line inside the lane. That's why that call was made.
Talking a little bit about Jim Herrick. He's on hand to watch Mark Gottfried's team. On that staff in '95, Lorenzo Romar, Steve Lavin, who was the youngest of the assistants, and Mark Gottfried.
Not bad coaching lineage, coaching tree.
You talked to Mark about playing for Wimp Sanderson at Alabama, and he was on arguably one of the greatest teams that school ever had in 1987. They went 16-2 in the SEC when they played 18-game round robins in that conference. He was the the shooting guard, scored 1,056 points in his career. But they were loaded with talent and lost to Billy Donovan's Providence team on their way to the Final Four.
Well, and you have an appreciation. He'll have an appreciation for Scott Wood. Mike Krzyzewski said before the game, probably the best shooter in the conference. 46%, 44% from 3, and 95% from the line.
Mark made a very big point of telling us today at the shoot-around that his team is just so much better when he scores 15 or 16 rather than 7 or 8.
Yeah, and he's a timely shooter as well. As many times as this team has needed a 3 or a jump start, he has come through.
35-21. Duke got off to a woeful shooting start. And North Carolina State took advantage. Cook, though, with a reversal. And with 4 minutes left, it's a 12-point game here in the opening half.
Of the point guards, Thornton is the purest of them, while the others are scoring point guards. Quinn Cook definitely in that category.
Painter, tough shot, but there's the follow again by Howell. Cleaning it up. And it's 37-23.
NC State a +7 on the glass right now, just outworking Duke.
Cook off the feed from Kelly. Howell clears. Alex Johnson moving it to Wood quickly. He rushed that shot a little as Dawkins was making his move defensively. Dawkins on the other end with a runner. Oh, the iron kind. And it's 37-25 as Dawkins gets his first basket.
A nice little floater inside that time. They covered him up as a 3-point shooter, and if he had taken it one more dribble, he would have gotten the charge.
Painter from up top.
I talked about they're going to dare him to make jump shots, and his man comes off the double that time. They left him wide open, and he delivers.
Struggled for playing time when Tracy Smith was on hand, getting a lot more now, and really developing his game this season.
An important 2.5 minutes for NC State. They built up this nice lead. They don't want to give the cushion away and give Duke any momentum going into half.
Numbers again for Lorenzo. Yes, and a foul. Cook unable to stop him.
We talked about the one guy they have off the bounce in the half court, but he's much better in the open floor.
Some incredible players in this series. This is another one. It's a 16-point lead. Polka.
That's right.
That's what you did.
They finally started selling kibasi at Kroger.
Tim Brando, Mark Jaminski, happy to have you with us as Lorenzo Brown connects at the line, and it's now a 17-point lead for North Carolina State.
Well, how about NC State's offense? We talked about them needing poise, coming in 55% shooting, Tim, 5 of 8 from 3, 5 of 6 at the line.
Been dynamite.
Yeah, this has been a tremendous first half for the Wolfpack.
You see Bobby Lutz there sitting next to Mark Gottfried.
Huge hire.
Oh, what a great hire that
Huge
was.
hire.
Rivers not there. Wood brings it down. His assistant, Orlando Early at Charlotte, was hired to Alabama by Gottfried, and both of them are now on Mark's staff. And he later would coach at Northeast Louisiana, now known as Louisiana Monroe.
And it takes a lot of confidence to hire guys. I mean, obviously their history, but guys who were head coaches.
Yeah, and certainly in the case of Lutz, you've got to be secure in your ability as a head basketball coach to bring someone as accomplished as Bobby onto your staff.
Such a great defensive mind, and really, it's this is basically the same team as last year, but just as you talked about it, more structure. They're a year older. Lorenzo Brown doing a terrific job at the point guard.
Well, coming up at halftime, we'll have analysis, highlight stats, and more on the Hardee's halftime report. I think the thought process there for Mark, because he spent a couple of years out of the profession and doing what we do, he decided that there are different ways of skinning a cat, so to speak, and now he's got another intellectual property from outside his realm on his staff. A 19-point lead for the Wolfpack. Mason Plumlee, good move against Painter, and he draws the foul. Hey, ACC fans, how would you like to win a Myrtle Beach golf vacation every month for a year for you and a friend, plus a chance to play around with PGA Tour pro Dustin Johnson? Just text golf to 88222 or go to golfholiday.com for your chance to win.
It would take me a driver and a 3-wood just to get to his drive.
There's that Florida State score we were talking about. Maryland with a large lead on Boston College.
That's, for Painter, that wasn't a bad foul inside with Mason Plumlee at 49%. Get him down low, make him prove himself at the free throw line.
Wood again off the curl, off the front iron. It was on target, just not quite enough on it. Curry off the ball screen.
Nice little handoff that time by Miles Plumlee. Secondary break, he got a good look.
44-28. Mark Gottfried wants a timeout.
All right, to this point in the game, we talk about the struggles of players. Austin Rivers, 1 point so far, 1 of 2 from the free throw line.
Don't forget, as we mentioned, coming up at halftime, our Hardee's halftime report with highlights, stats, and more. I think that in talking with Mike Krzyzewski prior to the North Carolina game, Mike, one of the points he made to us was that with this young team, so many of them are scorers, and they need to have that success in order to perhaps play the way he always wants them to play defensively. He's adjusting to that, and I really thought in the North Carolina win, particularly in the last half, they managed to hang in that game and have a shot because of their defense.
You talk about that series and the rivalry, and it affects you one game prior to that game and one game after the game. And it took him a half against Maryland to really get things going.
And I thought it did the same to North Carolina in the game with Virginia. Took them about 20 minutes to get their legs underneath them, and then they took off. Had a brilliant performance in the second half against Miami last night. Utilizing some clock, shot clock under 10 for the first time, and that's a walk by Brown. Tough break. 6 turnovers now committed by State. He just slipped as he picked up his dribble. The good news about that story is there have been very few points off those turnovers.
Well, that's the thing, only 2, and that's it's where you can have live ball turnovers or dead ball turnovers. That one you get a chance to come back and set your defense up, but they have not given away points.
Rivers on the dribble drive. Got tripped on his way to the rack. And it's Scott Wood that gets the foul, his first. I think the major concern right now for North Carolina State would be that they can get through the next 39 seconds without anyone on their front court picking up another foul. Thomas Datay, the freshman, has come into the game for the first time simply because he's got fouls to give.
And you can bet that Duke's halftime talk is going to be focused on defense. NC State has come in here and has felt very comfortable in this building so far.
They're checking the clock to make sure.
Probably another 2 seconds should be added on.
Yeah, that's about it.
Here's when the whistle. Whistle is at 40.5, it looked like.
So maybe a second and a half should be added.
As we talked about a lot of times in end game or end clock situations, they'll give Rivers that little brush screen up top and let him operate.
Mike, with a team that depends as much on the perimeter shot as this Duke team does, and you just heard Les Jones say 40.5, which is exactly what you mentioned. At halftime, what's your approach in terms of dealing with these guys? I don't know of a coach that psychologically understands today's player any better than Coach K.
Well, again, I think it starts on the defensive end from this team. They've got to do a better job of getting NC State out of their rhythm. And they've had guys come in. Alex Johnson has been terrific off the bench with 11 points. So you can't, it's very tough to come into this building and shoot over 50%, and especially 55% from 3.
Rivers now with 3 points. He has struggled in this first half offensively. Dawkins enters the game for him. Rivers does have the 2 fouls, and they want to protect him. Speaking of Johnson, here he is holding it. There's a 5-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. Brown, backdoor cut off the feed from Painter. That's a block. Could be an old-fashioned 3-point play.
All right, that was nice pressure release, and you can get the back door against Duke. That spread out. That was a nice play by Painter.
I think they got him caught leaning in.
Just a dominant first half by NC State.
No question. Krzyzewski wants a timeout. Well, they've had some issues here at Cameron Indoor Stadium, Mike. You cannot escape it. It's rare when 2 teams have come into Cameron and have left with a win, but the teams from Florida have done that. Everyone remembers Laux to snare, a 3-pointer to win it at the buzzer, and then a couple of weeks later, Reggie Johnson frankly came in and just manhandled the Duke front line with 27 to beat the Blue Devils in overtime. He was flexing his muscles en route to that 78-74 overtime win. They also missed in that overtime 6 free throws. It's rare when that happens.
Right. It's it's been a while since they've lost 2 home games, and not in recent memory has it been 3.
Yeah.
And in Miami game, kind of a similar recipe here. They were very sluggish in the first half, fought their way back into it, but Reggie Johnson just too much in that game.
At one point in 67 games during the K era, it was 65-2 at home. But every season is different, and if you look at the makeup of this team, and from the beginning of the season to now, if you had said that you would be this deep into the year and they would be atop the conference, tied for the lead, and at 21-4 overall, you would probably say you'd take it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
If you were doing.
Well, that's what, I think with this program that, when Mike Krzyzewski wins 25 games, everybody says, what's wrong? When he wins 35, it's okay.
Mark Godfrey got asked that question this week.
He goes, what's wrong with Duke? Nothing's wrong with Duke. They're 4th in the country.
Expectations a little different here in places like Chapel Hill and Lexington. Curry with the clock winding down. North Carolina State with a dominant first 20 minutes. And how about the play of Alex Johnson?
NC State.
Yeah, that's true. No doubt about that. He lit them up when he came into the game. Curry needs to line up for Duke. He's got 8 after that triple.
Well, and it's a good sign, too. You wonder over the course of halftime about that ankle tightening up that he had addressed in the first half. But come out, nice offense early on for him. Good lift on his shot.
Leslie being checked by Mason Plumlee. Shot clock down to 6. Howell using his strength. High arching off the glass, not there. Mason Plumlee collects the rebound.
That's the end of the floor where it has to start for Duke. Coming back in, getting stopped.
Rivers looking for his first 3. Not there. Plumlee fighting for it. Last touch by Wood. Duke will have it underneath their own hoop, and Mark Godfrey saying, how did Plumlee manage to get over his back with no whistle? Plumlee working on Howell. The jump hook not there. Howell tapped it up, but it was controlled by Duke, and now Howell gets the, oh, by the way, 3rd foul, reaching in with a loose ball. This is the worst nightmare Mark Gottfried could have ever dreamt of having at halftime.
Your 2 most important or most improved players, Howell now with 3, Williams on the bench with 4. And he's going to be forced to come in or try to come in with Deshaun Painter, and he will not be able to get in this possession.
Well, Howell can't guard anyone at this stage. And Duke's got to know that. 10 in the game for Seth Curry. Offensive foul, it'll go the other way.
Duke amping it up on the defensive end of the floor, and here's what we talked about with NC State about poise right now. The crowd fully engaged.
Wood with the moving pick, his second. Painter on the floor now, joining Johnson, Leslie, Wood, and Lorenzo Brown. Curry again off the front iron this time. Wood brings it down.
Wood fell down, and that's as open a look as Seth Curry's going to get.
Another steal. Wood picks up another foul reaching in. And that's his 3rd.
Oh, they're going to call it. They're going to reverse the call it on Tyler Thornton.
Oh, wow, that is big. If Wood had picked up his 3rd, I think Gottfried would have completely lost it. But they did reverse the call. It is Tyler Thornton that gets the foul.
Call it on the hole right there.
Yeah.
That Wood cut him off.
And I think it was a nice piece of officiating, too. Eads coming over to help out Les Jones. Wood on the wing. Thornton was in his face, and he turned it into a pass. And there's a block committed by Thornton. And he's very upset about that. You better watch out.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the coaches can have a reaction like that, but the players cannot, especially on your home court. The thing the referees hate more than anything is to have the home crowd brought down on them. And here's a look, and I don't think you're going to get that call. At best, it's a no call.
Yeah, but that reaction, that was close to being a T, which counts as a personal foul in college basketball. Wood, tough shot. Doesn't get the roll. And Leslie reaching in. That's 3 on him. Well, you hear this often by coaches. We would prefer a loose whistle. Right now, Godfrey's not getting it. Rivers count the basket. Goaltend on Leslie.
First basket of the game for Austin Rivers. He scored, but gotten them all at the free throw line.
Biorhythm's all with the Blue Devils right now.
Well, it's in the energy that they've brought to the defensive end of the floor that's gotten them amped up.
7-0 run for Duke. Just past the 3-minute mark of the second half. And a foul committed by Hairston off the ball. That is a very tightly officiated game.
I think that the referee is trying to get this one reined in here.
Yep. And by the way, they have game plans too. Yep. There you see the foul difficulty. Williams with the 4, and Leslie and Howell each with 3. And Wood almost picked up a third a moment ago. It's gotten a little chippy, evidently, because Eads is having a conversation with Painter and Hairston right now. There are 3 teams out there. The officiating crew always has a game plan themselves. And you're right, they've decided that they need to rein this in.
Duke in all-out denial right now at every position, forcing NC State look where they have to initiate their offense all the way out at half court.
You would think with the quickness on the wings that NC State has, they would be able to penetrate. And that's a foul. And it'll go against Kelly. That's his second. And a reminder, don't forget, this weekend, you'll get Florida State, North Carolina State from the RBC Center, or Maryland, Virginia from Charlottesville, in that beautiful arena, the John Paul Jones Arena at UVA.
Both teams headed to an early penalty situation right now, Tim, both with 4 personal fouls.
Leslie, a leaner, not there. Painter looking to follow. Kelly gets his third.
That opens up for Painter. Kelly having to come over to help out that time on the drive and allowed him to get to the front of the glass. And it did look like Kelly was straight up in the air, but getting the body on the foul.
Deshaun Painter from Norfolk, Virginia, knocks down the first free throw.
Big minutes for him with Richard Howell out of the game with foul trouble.
Painter was sick this past week. He only played 12 minutes in the game with Georgia Tech. North Carolina State did have quite a bit of time off. No game this past weekend to prepare for this onslaught of 3 games in 5 days that they have in front of them.
And the coaching staff liked it. They felt like they got some rest and got away from the game a little bit, maybe come back refreshed mentally and physically.
Hook shot won't fall. Long rebound to Leslie. He's got a handle. End to end he goes, but cannot convert. Plumlee clears it to Seth Curry. Hairston. He throws up an air ball, and it's run down by Lorenzo Brown. You gotta like his motor. Pretty good read to Leslie, and the blow by.
Well, that's where Lorenzo Brown, we talked about it, in the open floor, so good with getting into the paint area and either drawing or scoring himself.
Well, NC State appears to have withstood the first wave from Duke here in the second half. Blue Devils cut it to 11. They were down by as many as 19 in the first half, trailed by 16 at the break. Cook. Leslie with another rebound.
He's now 3 of 18 from 3.
Johnson gets bumped right into the painted area. Hairston will be tagged with a foul. Brown working it to Leslie, and that has been money all night. Well,
very underappreciated, I think, by the fans, but Kenny Denard, my dear friend and teammate, integral part of that team. Toughness, 1,000-point scorer playing with 3 other 2,000-point scorers.
Yeah, Al McGuire, God rest his soul, called him the human floor burn when he was playing on those teams. Wood is fouled yet again.
Holds the ACC single game record for steals with 11 against Maryland.
Dawkins picks up the foul, his second. And you talk about a huge fan of Coach K, having been on his first team here, left over from that team that went to the Final Four with you in '78. When he won that game at the Garden to pass Bob Knight, Kenny Denard was one of the other teams that were on hand, or other players that were on hand. He went up to Coach K and said, well, I gave you 17.
Rare. How about this? 2 Scott Wood misses.
Wow. When you think of 66 in a row that just ended, that's hard to believe.
He missed 3 all season coming into the game.
Hard to believe. Must have been the Kenny Denard mention. 53-37. Rivers rejected but fouled by Leslie. That is 4 on C.J. Leslie.
Now he's forced to come back with Richard Howell right now. And we talked about it, that Austin Rivers, the one guy off the bounce who can get to the rim, draws the foul, goes right to the body.
We mentioned it very early during the run to the 19-point lead, but the only issue for Gottfried and staff would likely be attrition. Well, they're looking at it right now with 14 and change remaining.
And that foul also puts Duke into the bonus for the rest of the game in one-on-one right now.
His staff, Rob Moxley, Bobby Lutz, and Orlando Early, are working overtime and keeping up with the number of personal fouls for the players. And they're going to have to go a lot deeper into the bench than they normally might.
Yeah, Thomas Dete may be seeing some playing time in the second half as their only other big body up front.
He got in late in the first half for a few moments. The lead is 15 with just under 15 to play. Mason Plumlee with a near pilfer. Looking for and finding Dawkins. Curry the dump down to him. Working on Howell, and he missed the dunk. Krzyzewski and Collins and Kelly can't believe it. Brown, the trailer. That's a 4-point swing and a big one in favor of North Carolina State. Remember that moment, folks.
Well, with bodies on the floor, Mason Plumlee probably would have been better served to just throw the little jump hook, and that time just a little too far out to finish the dunk.
You see 4-point swings at different times in the game. I know there's still plenty of time left, but that was important. Howell on the overplay knocked it out of bounds.
Well, this is a terrific hustle play on the overplay and getting the deflection, and Plumlee coming up with a loose ball, but an opportunity gone by just a little bit too far out. And the NC State on the other end, Lorenzo Brown, a nice little floater.
Not there for Rivers. The iron not just unkind, but downright rude to Duke from downtown tonight. They are now 3 of 20 from three-point range as a team. Dawkins. That's a huge one, just to restore some confidence. 5 points in the game for Andre Dawkins, the junior from Chesapeake, Virginia. Brown, nice feed to Painter. He was looking for a foul, didn't get it. A steal by North Carolina State.
Lorenzo Brown, good active hands that time. They run that high. It's an old UCLA John Wooden offense. A couple of high post players, and Brown really making nice decisions out of it.
And Jim Herrick ran it as well. Oh, UCLA high-low post play. Howell on the wing. Richard Howell now has 7.
Every time, and you talk about every time Duke makes a little bit of a push, NC State has had an answer.
Curry, a little floater. Short arm to the bit. Painter with the quick outlet. Johnson is on the move. They got numbers. Howell lost it on the way up. Out of bounds. It belongs to Duke. Richard saying, I know, I just simply lost it on my way up. We'll see the turnover story, but again, as we touched on earlier, not many returns on those turnovers. Duke unable to capitalize. Only 4. And for so many years, that's been their bread and butter. Curry fouled by Johnson. Got a bump as he was driving baseline. That's the second on Alex.
And one thing that they don't have on this team, Tim, is that 6'7" wing guy, the rangy defender that could get out and cause steals and get out in the open floor.
Sort of a Luol Deng or Nolan Smith kind of player. Kelly off the inbound. Well, Mike Krzyzewski very concerned, and understandably so. He knew coming into tonight that this was a showcase game for North Carolina State, that they would be as pumped as ever, that this would be the biggest game that they played this late in the season in a long, long time.
Well, and they're also wondering how they would react to it, and NC State is a very confident basketball team with 12 minutes to go, and that's a difficult thing to get turned around.
I think Gottfried sold his team that had been fragile to some extent mentally, that they were new and improved in his regime. Brown not there. Painter follows.
They have gotten some very good contributions off the bench.
Jim Herrick, the happy mentor, looking on, and it's 59-41. Curry feeds Kelly. Good dribble drive. Missed almost everything there. Brown again on the loose. Numbers. And that's a blank. Duran Duran had the song back in the 80s, remember? Running with the pack. Well, they're waking up the echoes now. Taking a look at our game summary, look at those fouls. And Williams, Leslie with 4 fouls, and that's an issue for Gottfried to deal with. And look at the transition point story. You would rarely see that. A Duke team surrendering that many.
They've really established themselves early. I'm talking about NC State playing with a lot of confidence and really have taken it to Duke in this game.
Brown had a big game against them a year ago. Again this season, this is now the largest lead of the night. 20 points. Duke shooting 29% to NC State's 53. This is now a 13-4 run for the Wolfpack. They have been running like the Wolves. Rivers in a stop and go. Looking to induce the foul. Almost too much, it would appear there.
Painter coming in. We talked about it with the foul situation with C.J. Leslie. His contribution critical at a very important part of the game.
Curry, he's fouled, and that'll be a 3-shot violation. Goes against Johnson. And Alex becomes one of a number of players for Mark Gottfried with 3 or more fouls. Seth Curry at the free throw line. C.J. Williams will be a while before he can manifest more perspiration all the time that he's been sitting. But if you think about it, Mike, if you had ever asked Mark Gottfried, Wood would struggle to score maybe 13 minutes in before he gets his first bucket. C.J. Williams with a lot of foul trouble, and you sit up 18 points with 11:08 left, I think he would have been amazed.
Yeah, Alex Johnson really a big part of that, getting guys to step up. And amazing you have Duke, who has 4 guys averaging double figures and 1 right below it. Only 1 person in this game and nobody else even close.
Yeah.
So really it's not just been NC State's offense, but what they've done to Duke, defensively.
Tyler Thornton re-enters the game, and Seth Curry sits down. Howell needs help, calls the timeout. 61-44. North Carolina State with a lead. 11 and change remaining.
This new AT&T 4G LTE is fast.
Other than that made basket coming from the free throw line.
Shocking when you think about his exploits of a week ago. A number of people thought that might carry over, but you got to play it game by game. There's another foul off the steal, and it's committed by Scott Wood. And Wood now joins the group of NC State players with 3.
We talked about poise, and right now Duke, and will probably for the rest of the game extend pressure all the way up the floor. NC State's going to have to figure out a way to solve that. They've got both of their point guards in the game at the same time, in Brown and Johnson.
Each team now with 18 fouls. So we've had a collection of 16 total fouls called in this half. 8 for each team. And it is certainly affecting the rotation for both coaches. Balanced scoring, and you expect that from NC State. 5 guys in double figures. Plumlee with that reach in, and that may be a wasted personal, although it is number 1. But look at that.
Well, it's you got to play through things, and Mark Godfrey right there just trying to massage this game home with a little under 11 minutes left.
In a lot of ways, as much as you'd like to limit the possessions, that's really not the way his team plays.
But the thing is, too, Tim, you're looking at Duke, you're going to try to come back and shoot threes, but if you're shooting threes, you're not putting pressure on people to pick up fouls.
That's right. Thornton dumping it down. Alex Johnson, I think, may have gotten a deflection, but it is out of bounds off of North Carolina State. He has been some active tonight for Gottfried and company. Plumlee with a free baseline. That's a block. It'll go against Howell. He was a little too close to the rim there. That is his 4th.
They just a little late coming out right there, but again, probably a play that if you're Mason Plumlee, you're kicking yourself a little bit for not finishing on the dunk.
So, along with C.J. Williams, Howell now with 4, and 10.5 minutes remaining. You mentioned Dete, and here he is, forced into playing time. Number 13 coming into the game. A young man from Belgium who has not seen much playing time. Hey, one of the issues Duke has had here at home, Mike, and it hurt them in the overtime against Miami, missing free throws.
Well, but you expect that to a degree from Mason Plumlee. It's just under 50%, but the guys who were missing in that game, Austin Rivers had some misses late, some of their higher percentage shooters.
Lorenzo Brown, boy, what a game he's had. Win or lose, he's been outstanding. Painter facing up. Dete with the rebound, but he lost it. Dawkins.
He's hit a couple of threes in this game. Mike Krzyzewski wants a timeout.
8 in the game for Andre Dawkins. Cameron trying to become what Cameron usually is in ACC games.
Well, we talked about the leadership here, and then getting out on the open floor again, a good opportunity to knock down a 3. And if we're watching that timeout, it's amazing how much Tyler Thornton was talking and how much these guys respect him.
He's truly a leader for Mike Krzyzewski's team. Well, a 13-4 run a few moments ago had enabled North Carolina State to get up by 20. Now Duke in the midst of a 7-0 spurt of their own. Brown, Wood, Painter, Dete, and Alex Johnson, the 5 on the floor for North Carolina State. Dawkins, Curry, Thornton, Miles, and Mason Plumlee in for Duke. Wood, a leaner. Rolls off the iron. Plumlee will be fouled by Dete.
Good inside position that time by Plumlee, anticipating that shot from the perimeter.
Well, we mentioned fouls to give, and Dete has them. That's his first. And you'd rather Plumlee be there than most. Fans respond to the make. And closed captioning for ACC basketball provided by Bojangles. Famous chicken and biscuits. It's bow time.
Duke is getting to the free throw line, though, impressive. They have really slowed this game down and gotten North Carolina State out of rhythm offensively. He's made his last three now from the line.
Yeah, that's news.
That's a big, big lift.
9-0 this run now. By Plumlee.
14 say this is a big possession for NC State. They've had an answer for every Duke run up to this point.
You've got to figure it's time for Brown or Wood to make a shot. Shot clock winding down. This is the guy they want to have it. Lorenzo all the way to the rack, pulling up, knocked in. Curry clears. The place will explode with a Duke bucket. Brown, end-to-end. What an answer.
A big-time play again. He beat the first wave of pressure for the line of poise and finishing.
It was time for Lorenzo Brown to make the play. It just came a possession later. Curry.
Seth Curry showed up. Doesn't look like he's suffering at all from that ankle sprain.
Timeout. The NC State lead down to 9.
Big players for Duke in the second half. Seth Curry has really taken on the load offensively. Neil showing a nice mid-range game there and a couple of threes. But it's really also, Tim, been Duke's pressure in the full court that has gotten NC State rattled and out of sync.
When you run out of artillery, and North Carolina State was teetering with the foul difficulty even midway through the first half, though they had a very large lead, it makes it difficult. But this sequence right here will help define just where this program is in its first year under Mark Gottfried. How they respond to this pressure.
Well, let's see how C.J. Leslie responds with playing with 4 personal fouls. He's got to be selective in the shots he goes after to block.
He's working on Kelly now.
He also has to watch on the drive, Tim, about picking up a charge.
And no better team at doing that than the Blue Devils. Johnson with a ball fake and the deuce.
Yeah, not a good play defensively by Curry, who went for it. You're not going to get the block. The only thing it accomplished is maybe making Johnson a 2-point shooter instead of a 3.
Kelly left free for 3. Long rebound to Leslie. Loose ball, fought for, out of bounds to Duke. You know, I think Leslie was a little bit tentative in going after that loose ball because he was concerned about fouling out of the game. We'll return after these messages from your local ACC station. It's amazing how when you warm up from the perimeter, you improve with this edition of the Duke Blue Devils.
Well, and they didn't even know after the first minute of the game if they were going to have Curry going down with an ankle injury.
A blow by against Wood. 19 now for Seth.
Well, I think they'd rather have him play 2-ball than 3-ball, so they'll make him a driver.
Alex Johnson along with Lorenzo Brown. Deshaun Painter, C.J. Leslie, and Scott Wood, the 5 on the deck for Gottfried. Brown, a little crossover and pull up. Sweet. 18 now for him.
Well, he's been terrific. And then again, the thing you like about him is his size. He can get in the lane and play over the top of the people.
Curry, a little stop and go. Not there. Pulled down by Leslie. Now with 7 rebounds, 5 rejections. The last couple of sequences, they've gone with this 1-4 set, utilizing a little clock.
Gave him the clear out.
Well, they like that. Painter with the follow, and he's fouled by Plumlee. C.J. Leslie really upset with himself for not making that bucket when he had the isolation against Plumlee.
Yeah, they really cleared out that side, but the drive, it forced the defender to step over, and that allowed Painter to get all over the offensive glass.
Did you see Julius Hodge out there? He's in the building tonight rooting for the Wolfpack.
Well, he knows how important a win in this building would be to Wolfpack Nation and to this team.
Last time NC State won at Cameron was in '95. That was the year that Coach K was ailing and Pete Gaudette was coaching. Last time that North Carolina State beat a Coach K team in this building was way back in 1988. 13 in a row in this building for the Blue Devils against North Carolina State. Rivers off the bounce. Bang! Look out! He gets the tray to fall, and that could be infectious not only for him but for everyone else.
Well, that's what great scorers do. They shed the past and stay in the moment.
Well, Johnson's ball fakes have been very effective. Painter down low, stripped by Dawkins. And now the foul against Painter. Second personal foul committed by Deshaun Painter.
There's the little floater inside, and he has been tough inside. And Dawkins coming from behind. Andre Dawkins playing with a lot of fire on both ends of the floor.
And Mark Gottfried now is about to send C.J. Williams back into the game along with Richard Howell. So with 5:43 to play, Mark Gottfried knows how important it is to get his best frontline attack out there. Each with 4 fouls. Here they come. Johnson and Painter leave.
Again, you be smart. You think about game situation at 5:43. You got a little over a minute and a half before you get to that next TV timeout. So you can get to there in good shape. Then you just play ball for the last 4 minutes.
You mentioned that Miami game, Mike. It is very similar, eerily so, really, how this game is played out in comparison to that. Ultimately, the thing you have to remember, even though you've lost a 20-point lead, is what's at stake. Kelly with a giveaway foul, really far from the basket. That's 4 on him.
See, they're trying to just trap it and go all out in the backcourt.
Well, the ACC Digital Network gives fans access anytime, anywhere. Who are the best rebounders in the ACC? This week, you can join former Tar Heels star J.R. Reed as he discusses the traits that make a good rebounder and which ACC players exhibit those traits the most. To watch JR's Art of Rebounding, visit the ACCDN.com.
Well, Tim, when you're in a double team and there's a big and a small in it, and you're a guard, you'll always attack the big, and that's what he did with Kelly to pick up the foul.
You talk about establishing your NCAA tournament credibility. You need those proverbial skins on the wall. This would be just that skin if NC State can hang on in the last 5.5. Rivers on a blow by. Timeout, Duke.
Well, you can see, they're really attacking the rim inside, off the dribble. There's nothing the bigs can do. They have to lay off the play for the block behind. And he gets to his right hand. He's awfully tough to guard.
Well, Raycom Sports and the ACC have unlocked the archives with over 150 basketball games, and all can be seen free at the ACC.com. Check out NC State's overtime win over Duke in the '87 ACC tournament quarterfinals. That was in Landover, Maryland. I was fortunate to be at that game. The Wolfpack's Vinny Del Negro scored only 6 points, the only 6 points in that regulation, but had 9 in the final 90 seconds of overtime. The Pack beat the Devils 71-64 en route to an ACC tournament crown. You can relive and share your favorite ACC moments at the ACC.com/vault.
You're telling me there were a few iron unkind calls in that game?
Imagine 2 back-to-back double overtime games, and I've got Dickie V in my ear.
You were still talking.
Williams.
It's so tough that you've been sitting for so long with foul trouble to come in and find some rhythm with your jump shot. And that Williams, he draws Rivers to guard man-to-man.
69-64. The Blue Devils haven't been this close since very, very early in the proceedings. Leslie. Rebound to Mason Plumlee. Curry feeding Rivers. He wants it. Off the front iron. Curry feeds Plumlee. It's down to 3.
Credit Ryan Kelly. He made that play with the tap out.
Was this close, the score was 2-0.
And here's the look, and this is the recipe for Duke when they won the national championship in 2010. The tap out, and then Plumlee just so athletic, you can throw it up at the rim and he can go get it.
Our game reset. We've been in the double bonus for a long time. Timeouts remaining. 2 for State, just 1 for Duke. Mike Krzyzewski, early on during this run, Mike, used timeouts after made baskets. Very early.
Yeah, and he just wanted to get his team on the same page defensively. And I think that's been the big difference in this game so far. Only 28 points in the second half so far for NC State after 41 in the first half.
I think there have been a couple of occasions during the run as well, like the loose ball situation a moment ago, when Leslie going for it was less aggressive because I think they're playing scared with the foul difficulty.
Well, and also a very subtle thing too, Tim, but 3 consecutive free throws by Mason Plumlee,
yes,
who struggles at the line to keep that momentum going.
Look, it took a few bizarre happenings for Duke to manifest that incredible comeback against North Carolina a week ago. Once you've accomplished that feat, and they did on the road, well, coming from 20 down at home, walk in the park, right? C.J. Williams on the floor with Brown, Howell, C.J. Leslie, and Wood. A couple of them out there with 4 fouls. But it's time to get aggressive if you're NC State. Howell left free, but decides not to take it. Shot clock under 10. Lorenzo Brown, the runner, not there. Howell, the rebound. The putback, not there, but slammed home by Leslie. A huge flush. He's got a dozen.
Yeah, and that was a very, I talked about a big possession that time, and it's been the 2 guys that haven't been on the floor much, and Howell and Leslie.
Rivers past Brown, rejected by Leslie.
Normally you get that call, that block right in the front, but C.J. Leslie all of a sudden now starting to find some rhythm.
Coach K is livid, but C.J. Leslie has a dozen and a half dozen rejections. Time follow here, Mike.
Well, he has really come in and gotten back into the swing of things, and the foul, he's got 10 rebounds, to go along with 12 points. Then NC State 8 blocks on the game, and he's got most of them.
6 of them. Curry. He answers with the triple. It's down to 2 with 3:13 to play.
And it's Sonia loving every minute of it right now. But as he put this team on his back offensively, 24 points for him.
North Carolina State coming in 7-3 in the league, 18-7 overall. But by far and away their toughest test of 3 that they have over the next 5 days. Lost a 20-point lead, yes. But would you have taken a 2-point cushion with 3 minutes to play before it started? More than likely. Wood, nice move. Not there, though, and the rebound cleared to Miles Plumlee.
Well, how many times in this game they had 2 guys fired out on him, and it's been the tip out for the rebound, not the guy underneath the glass that's made the play.
Curry looking for Rivers. Duke has never led in this game. A 3-ball would give them that lead. There it is. Well, they never led last week until the clock read 0. In the second half, they had a big lead in the first. But North Carolina stormed back, took advantage. Duke fought from behind to get the win. How will State respond? It's been a long time since they've been in this big an environment with this much at stake. Brown lost his dribble. Shot clock at 2. It's an air ball.
No, what he was doing, he was trying to throw a lob to Howell inside, but he should have put the ball up on the glass and made the mistake there. Now, this is Austin Rivers, and you have to guard him out here. He's a long way away from the basket, but you can just see Lorenzo Brown with his hands down. That was a deep, deep 3.
Now a 16-3 run in the last 4.5 minutes. That said, a stop here in North Carolina State could be right back in business.
We're going to run this all the way down and let Rivers create.
Howell comes out, picks up his 5th. Painter will check back in.
7 points, 7 rebounds for him, but again, picking up the foul that far away from the basket. They had him going laterally. Just get back into the paint area and let it go.
Again, time and score. Understanding the moment. Something that a lot of these veteran players at North Carolina State, quite frankly, have never had to deal with. Rivers is 4 of 6 at the line.
Well, the offense in the second half has been Rivers and Curry.
A 3-point lead, but a 1-possession game. Mark Godfrey trying to remind his team that all is not lost. Still plenty of basketball to play.
NC State has not hit a 3 in this game, and what a mental error by Lorenzo Brown just stepping on the sideline.
Again, when you haven't been on this stage, and this, although it's a veteran team, really hasn't been, you really never know how you're going to react. And a lot of this has been induced by Duke's pressure. Give them all the credit. But a couple of these have been self-induced by North Carolina State. Blue Devils have scored the last 8 points. Lead by 3. Now NC State is in a must-stop mode. Leslie with all kinds of pressure on Kelly. That's his 5th.
Again, you got to pressure, but you can't go for the steal in that situation. If anything, you try to deny on the catch, but once he has the ball, And Kelly, an 80% free throw shooter.
There was a time, Mike, when we used to talk a lot about blown leads and the difficulty or carryover from them. Since the three-point shot became a factor in college basketball, I think we put way too much emphasis on blown leads because what is a big lead anymore?
Yeah, and it's you know, the situation too, Tim, where their offense came alive. I'm talking about Duke, but they also, the free throw line has been a huge key for them as well.
Especially when Mason Plumlee steps up there and starts making them consecutively, as he has here in this second half. I'm sure a lot of fans for North Carolina State are looking to see if anyone out there has the eyes of a winner. Lorenzo Brown may be that guy. He and Wood, let's see. For three, he is fouled by Thornton.
Not a good defensive play there. Again, you want to go out and challenge the shot, but not put a guy, although he's missed 2 tonight. He's only missed 5 free throws all year.
Well, you not only cut it to a one-possession game, but to a 2-point game if you make all 3.
I think they're going to take a look and see if this was, in fact, a 3-point attempt.
We're being told they may be looking at the clock rather than the 3. I certainly thought it was a 3 very easily. Yeah, they are looking at the clock again, apparently.
Well, you see that Scott Wood is really working hard. Used the pump fake that time in the foul, and yeah, continued another 2 seconds or so. It looked like ran off.
There you see the 3-point shot, but the clock in and of itself, I beg your pardon, we were looking at it up here.
57.8. It looked like we're, let's look where the arm went up.
When Howell fouled out of the game, and frankly, when Leslie fouled out of the game, Mike, they almost appeared as if they were done, and that look that they have on their face now is pretty much the same as it was when they each fouled out.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at it, it's still
this game is very much in question.
He makes all 3, which you would expect. It's a 2-point game with 57.8 left.
There's a lot to be said when you take over a job like the NC State job. You obviously have not had as much success if you're a player when you inherit them, and I think that's much of what Coach Gottfried is having to deal with, to remind his team what it takes to finish off when you're on the road or in any big game environment. And as you look out there on the floor, Wood and Brown look like guys that are still very much in this game.
Well, you're positioned very well, too, that you don't have to foul in this situation. Amazingly, he's had 3 misses all year coming in and has missed 3 in this game. You can tell the effect of this game in the building and what it has on shooters.
As bad as you may feel, you're still 1 possession down.
And all you have to do is come up with a stop. And so you come up with a stop, and you've got plenty of time to work with, at least 22 seconds.
A week ago at this time, Mike, it was an incredible comeback for Duke against North Carolina. 10-point lead, 2:38 left. Tyler Thornton started it with his first 3. They're down 7. Mason Plumlee gets the steal, and then all of a sudden here comes Ryan Kelly getting his own miss, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, Zeller tips an air ball, and it came down to this for Austin Rivers to win it.
Well, there were a lot of things you talk about that went wrong for North Carolina, and they talk about free throws. They never made 2 consecutive free throws in the second half.
And today, look at the score by half. What a remarkable return to sender for the Blue Devils. Down by 16 at the break. Fell down by as many as 20 early in the second half before mounting this miraculous comeback. That being said, NC State, you could see, even when they had the lead, there were issues with foul difficulty. And that really did mean a lot in the way this game would play out in the second half.
Make your move with about 10 seconds to go. Little high ball screen.
State playing honestly. Seth Curry again, not there. Loose ball, out of bounds. It belongs to NC State. So the Wolfpack get what they want. A chance to tie, or at least cut the lead to 1 and extend the game as best they can.
We talked about it. They have not hit a 3 in this half after hitting 5 in the first half. Alex Johnson was the guy who was seeing a big basket.
There you see the timeout story, 1 each.
In this situation defensively, Scott Wood, Thornton is on him. He is a no-help guy.
Lorenzo Brown and Wood would be your best options.
Thornton in an all-out deny on Wood.
Brown looking for a screen, can't get it. Now forces up a 3. Not there. Rebound to Curry. Time winding down. Blue Devils get the foul. I believe they may have called a foul.
Oh, no. I think they're calling time here because it was a travel at the end and there was still time left on the clock.
Yeah. So it's going to be a while before we know that this one's over.
And that was just a mental lapse by Duke because you've got to keep dribbling the ball. You know, we're not going to go in for the dunk, but you've got to keep dribbling the ball until the clock runs out. It was a good defensive stand by Rivers, who forces a tough shot.
As it was.
And then here, look ahead, and this is all you have to do is dribble this out.
Yeah,
and that's
definitely travel.
Like 0.5, probably 0.3.
But enough time, you would think. Yeah, they simply thought the game was over, and it wasn't. About the best you could hope for would be a length of the floor and deflection into the hoop for three-point range, and that's hard to do.
Or are they going to call a foul down the other end?
Maybe.
On Curry on that pass.
That's clearly a walk.
I don't know. It was clear that they were trying to get to him.
Let's see if.
It didn't look like there was any. Well, he had his arm. He puts his arm up at 1.6.
Mike Eads did have a foul. You're right. I had not seen that when it happened live. Nice job by Johnny Tyus, our director, and producer Rob Reichley tonight to catch that for us in slow motion.
Yeah, one more free throw, and it becomes a moot point.
And Williams did technically get the foul. That was his 5th, so he fouled out. From our perch up top.
Well, this game though was won in the second half defensively by Duke.
No question.
So they brought the pressure and brought the full court pressure starting at about the 10-minute mark, and it really got NC State out of rhythm.
Mike, let's move forward. Florida State on a quick turnaround on Saturday. You've got the lingering residue emotionally after this loss, the way it happened.
Yeah, and I think the lead that you had, and that's something that Mark Gottfried's going to work through with this team to get them back emotionally over the next day before you have a 1 o'clock game on Saturday. And Florida State, all they could do to get to 50 points tonight and win.
And I think that kind of difficulty for the road team, a quick turnaround is even more problematic.
Yep, no question. But fortunately again, this is playing an area that NC State will be home relatively early tonight. It's not like they've got a long travel to get back from a road game, so that helps them.
Mike Eads with the explanation for Mark Gottfried and staff. But again, we go back to the big lead that North Carolina State had. Even as it was happening, Mike, the foul difficulty in the first half was a real issue in the second for NC State.
It came on, and we talked about Seth Curry, who's been terrific.
Team that's not had very much success gets on this stage, and you wonder if They're mentally fragile going into the next two. We shall see. Duke comes from 20 down. They trail 61-41 with 11 and a half minutes remaining.